Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how to make a keylogger in Python. Probably if you clicked on this video you already know what it is, as it's in the title. But essentially it's a software that allows us to capture keyboard clicks, and thus it may be treated as malicious software, so please don't use it in this way. I'm of course not responsible with what you do with it. I would like to just point out that all the solutions and code that I write after each episode will be in the description on my GitHub. So if you just simply want to take the code, feel free, and of course it's free to use. Okay, so this video or the series will be divided into 5 parts. First is gonna be Keylogger. We will be first logging the capturing the keyboard presses to a text file. Second will be email automation, so we'll just set up a script that will automatically send an email to us with the file. Enable the program to work in the background. Because of that we will be able to see how easy it is actually to hide a software from a human's perspective. And 4 is going to be making an executable file from a Python script. So basically when you have a installation file, it's always an executable file which you can install. This makes the life pretty easy for us. And the last part is gonna be auto run from a USB. So basically you plug in a USB to your computer, to some machine, the file installs itself. So we can see how a hacker would actually run this software without our knowledge. Just maybe he would sneak in a USB drive, and basically we are done. And I would like to point out that each part will be recorded separately. So if you, for example, need one of those 5 parts for your other project, for example, you want an email automation for I don't know, sending random emails to your friends, you can also only watch part 2 and you will basically know how to do it. Only at the end of the video I'm gonna be actually combining 2 of the parts. So it's more suitable for your needs, and I hope I will make it much easier for you than to search in the video what you want to actually do. Okay, so we can get started. First I will create just a random folder to store all of the files in. Okay, so now when we have our folder, we can create a Python file. I'm just gonna be using a built-in Python interpreter, which comes pre-installed when we install Python. I click new file and I'm gonna save it to our folder. That's the Keylogger, and we'll call it, let's say, main. And now when we have our beautiful blank space, now we can show line numbers. And so now when we have our Python file, we actually need a way to capture what we typed. To do it, we will be using a Python module which is called pinput. So how to install the module, I hope you already know it, but you go into a command prompt and you type in pip install and the name of the module, so pinput. I already have it installed, but yeah, just follow my steps. Now we have it installed and we can import whatever is necessary. We type in from pinput.keyboard import key and listener. What it does is basically takes the part of the pinput module, which is called keyboard, and grabs key and listener things, let's call it. So key is basically a code for a keyboard press. So for example, if we press A, we get key named A or backspace or space or whatever. Listener will basically make our code run constantly forever and just get the input that we type in. To capture the key that we press, we use a function which is called onPress, and once we have it we can simply print it. So I of course forgot parentheses, but of course that command is not gonna actually run right now. We need a listener, so with listener onPress equals onPress as listener I can't type today. But yeah, what this line of code does. We basically run the listener and we attach the command on press to it. And so the pinput knows what command to run when we actually press a key. That's all it does. And we note the listener as a name listener, and then we activate it by typing in listener.join. We can run it and see how it acts. So I'm writing something now. Hello YouTube. So it works really neatly, as we can see. But of course we don't want to write it to a command prompt, and we want to log it to a file. To do it, we use again the word with open. So we open a file and we type in the file name. We will call it logfile.txt. We have to specify what type of file open it's gonna be. So there are a couple of them. For example, W. When we have a file, let's say this is our these are our contents of the file. When it's W, it's gonna override anything that we write. If it's A, so append, it's gonna write after that. So we want append because of course we don't want to cancel every second what we typed beforehand. And we open it as we have to give it a name in our program as one file, as log file. Then we just simply type logfile.write key. So we can run it, so we can test it. I'm gonna be writing, oh, here we have an exception. Type error, write argument must be string, not key code, of course. Because key is as I said, a key code, not a string, but it's easily solvable when we type in str. It's a built-in function in Python that basically converts anything to string. So if we have 2, which is int, we can type in string and it's gonna give us an actual string of 2. Okay, if we run the program, I'm typing hello YouTube. I close it and we will see we have a file, log file. We open and we can see hello key space YouTube. Perfect. That's what we wanted. But it's of course far from being done, because what the hell is that? We want to actually make it pretty. Okay, so first what we want to do, we saw that there are very weird quotation marks. We don't want that. So we have our string key and we basically will replace it. So dot replace will replace our quotation marks with a blank space. What it will allow us to do is basically when we open our file, we can see that now it's without the quotation marks, which is pretty neat. Perfect. But we of course don't want space to be displayed as key code space or whatever. That's why we'll type in if key equals key dot space. Then we will create a key to write equals blank space, and we will type in a key to write instead of the key. This replace is basically not gonna do anything because we don't have our quotation marks here. So if it's not it, we have to actually change our key to write to key, and then when we run it, we can type in a little spaces. We open it and we can see we have spaces. Perfect. But it's all very cramped in one line. So let's say if someone types in enter, so a return key, we will actually write a blank space or just simply enter, which stands for this \n in programming languages. I have to fix here, and elif, so it's more efficient. And we have it. Perfect. Then backspace. If someone clicks a backspace, we'll want to delete a key from our file. We'll perhaps create a function so it's more neat. Delete last character. We'll define it here. We have our function here. What we'll have to do is, of course, open that file again. But here we'll need additional permission to delete. So we type rb plus s log file. Find the end of the file. So log file seek 0,2. This will give us the end of the file. Then what we do is we type in log file seek log file tell -1. So first log file dot tell gives us the size of the file -1. So we essentially delete one character, and then we have to log file dot truncate, which basically will give us the file size, let's say. So this command moves our cursor to the end of the file. Then we seek the size -1, so this, and truncate will basically give us this besides the first character. Okay, perfect. But of course it's faulty, this code, because when we have our code, for example key, this is not perfect, because if we have, for example, in our text file key.tab, this will only delete this. However, it's actually pretty easy for us to know that it's key.tab, and actually if we want to capture passwords, for example, it's gonna be more appropriate for us to know that someone wrote something. Yeah, it's gonna be just easier to see. But of course you don't have to use this function, it's up to you basically. Okay, this is all for our keylogger. There's of course very lots and lots of things you could also do. You could type in that instead of the tab, you'll write in this, which is basically tab in the file. So a couple of blank spaces, and yeah, possibilities are limitless. So have fun, and you can just do it yourself. Okay, so thank you. That was it for this part, and now we'll move on to how to actually send it to an email.